Hello and welcome to another devlog video for the game that I am solo developing, EvCO Online. It occurred to me in my last video that when I talked about prayers, I forgot to mention what some of these do. I explained Holy Protection, but Divine Smite will do more damage against enemies that are evil aligned or players that have a negative karma. Flight is pretty self-explanatory. I'm making this right on the heels of the last video, so I haven't actually fixed it yet, but it will just let you fly. And then Healing Touch will actually not do anything against monsters, but it will cause your attacks to heal other players rather than hurting them, which means that you don't have to worry about friendly fire. Friendly fire would actually be more like support. If I change the god here to black, um, unlike Divine Smite, this Black Luster prayer here will cause your weapon to just do a bit of extra damage. It's the equivalent of being like +1 sharpness at all times, which means that it's good against everybody, regardless of their alignment. But in the case of Divine Smite, it's actually several times more powerful, but it only works against evil aligned beings. All three of the gods have a sort of a life-saving prayer. In the case of, let's see, just sacrifice some prayer here. In the case of this prayer called Grave Endurance, it will actually not protect your HP from draining down to 0, but it will allow you to continue living at 0 HP until it runs out. The next prayer is called Mage Slayer, and it will allow your attacks to there we go. It will allow your attacks to silence enemies that it hits, including players. So it's a good weapon against people who prioritize spellcasting. And lastly, the 4th tier black spell is, or black prayer is invisibility. I'm not sure if I have enough. Let me sacrifice some more mana to black. And if I turn on invisibility and then simply don't move, you can see that I go invisible. And now that I'm fully invisible, I can move around. But if I attack, then it breaks it. And if I move around, I will not go invisible again until I will not go invisible while I'm moving around. You have to stay still until it finishes activating. Once it activates, then you can move around, but you cannot attack. You can still click on the UI, but you can't click on, you can't attack or interact with the world, or you can't like mine, things like that. It will take away 1 orb when you go invisible, and then I think every like 30 seconds or so, while you're invisible, it will drain another orb. And if I look at the gray prayers, Unbreaking will actually stop your weapon from, just weapon? I forget if it's weapon and armor, but it will stop your weapon from breaking. Every time it would take a crack, it will use up a prayer orb instead. I haven't gone over the weapon and armor breaking mechanics, but all weapons and armor degrade over time. They basically accumulate cracks or fractures, and then the higher those are, the higher the chance that it will just break upon taking the next one. And so having Unbreaking will use up an orb rather than causing any additional damage. Animal Vigor is the gray version of a protection prayer. It will, similar to Holy Protection, it will use up orbs in order to prevent you from taking damage. But it does actually let you take the damage. It just heals you back. It drains your stamina as well, but then it will give you additional healing. So basically, if I take 2 points of damage, it will take them. So I have to be careful not to die, but I will take the 2 points of damage, and then I will drain 2 stamina, and I will actually heal back 4 points of HP. So it basically converts your stamina into healing. Anytime, the more damage you become, the more you heal, but it requires stamina, unlike Holy Protection. Next up, I'm probably not doing a great job of explaining that. Next up is Dauntless. Dauntless is actually a bow-specific skill. Sacrifice some mana. The way that Dauntless works is every time I fire an arrow, it returns automatically. So pull up my quiver. You can see I have 15 arrows. And so if I turn this off, use up the last of my, you can see this is how it normally works. And if I toggle it back on, this is how it works now. So you don't have to worry about picking your arrows up. It allows you to be more of a archer main. And lastly, we have Beast Mode. You can see I got a little Goku look going on there. And what Beast Mode does is it just dramatically extends your stamina. So every time I would use up a stamina, I use up an orb from Beast Mode instead. So, for sprinting, for dashing, which is on cooldown, I think if you increase your muscular level, you can actually, that allows you to dash dramatically more often. It reduces your cooldown on dash quite a bit. So I think the way Beast Mode works is that you will actually still drain a stamina, but it just recharges it afterwards. At least that's what it's supposed to do. But of course, it's still, this is like, you can't even call this an alpha. It's still very early in development. So there are a lot of bugs to work out, but this should give you an idea of where my prayer system currently is. And you can see here, this is a gray prayer, so if I switch to white, it will disappear. You can only have one god at a time, and you can't have any prayers from a god that you're not currently following. So I think that pretty much does it for the prayers. I should mention that your max prayer points are determined by your piety level. I think I was going to mention that in a different video. But your total prayer points that you can hold at a time, because it acts as basically a backup. How can I put this? An additional sort of mana reservoir that you can use. It's going to be heavily limited by your piety level. If you don't have a high piety level, you won't be able to just continuously store more of your mana in the form of prayer points. So it's kind of an alternative to the mana capacity, whereas if you have a very high mana capacity, then you can hold a lot of mana for elemental spells, but if you were to sacrifice all these to prayer, it would be totally wasted because it would go way over your normal cap. Whereas if you have a high, clouds disappeared. If you have a high piety level, then you can store a large amount of mana in the form of prayer points, but then it'll only be usable for prayers and not for things like elemental spells. And yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up. I explained everything I think I needed to about prayers for the time being. And if anyone's watching these, I appreciate you following along. Thank you.